Every time I see someone in 2026 buying a secondhand Alexa Mini, and honestly, even a lot of the time an Alexa Mini LF, I keep thinking the same thing. You probably should have just bought an URSA Cine 12K LF instead. And I know that sounds extremely provocative because ARRI has built one of the strongest reputations in cinema history for a reason. The Alexa line is legendary. The color science is stunning. The highlight roll-off is trusted. And ARRI absolutely earned its place as the gold standard on major sets. But here is the thing. If you're buying with your own money and you're not renting for a gig, I think the value equation has completely changed. The original Alexa Mini is still a great camera, but it is fundamentally a pretty old Super 35 sensor. Doesn't shoot full 4K, does do open gate, about 14 stops of dynamic range, but still records the CFast 2.0 media. Tops out at 3.4K, ARRI RAW, 30 frames per second in that mode. The Alexa LF is more modern and a better comparison, I think. It gives you a 36 by 25mm large format sensor, 4.4 by 3K open gate, 14 stops of dynamic range, records to codecs compact drives. It's also still a physically compact, proven high-end camera platform, which is why so many people absolutely love it. But now let's look at what the URSA Cine LF is giving you. It's a full frame 36 by 24mm sensor. It's a 12K sensor. It's Blackmagic's RGBW sensor, and it's acclaimed 16 stops of dynamic range. Has 10 gig Ethernet, Wi-Fi, cloud sync, interchangeable lens mounts, options for CFast or their own proprietary internal hard drive, extremely high frame rates, 100 frames in 12K, 120 frames in 2.4, 224 frames in 8K. That's not a small difference. That is a massive leap in flexibility. One thing that doesn't get talked about enough is the sensor design itself. The URSA Cine uses an RGBW sensor, meaning it has white photo sites built in. What that actually does is dramatically improve low light sensitivity and efficiency. So even though it is technically a single ISO sensor, it actually outperforms a lot of dual ISO systems on the market, especially when light starts to fall off. And yes, that also includes the Alexa Mini and the Alexa Mini LF. Don't shoot me. When you get into the lower light situations, the URSA Cine holds onto that information in a way that is very, very, very hard to ignore. The first reason I choose the URSA Cine is simple. Resolution does matter a little more than people like to admit. No, more resolution doesn't automatically make a shot better, but 12K full frame gives you an insane amount of room for reframing, stabilization, cleaning up punch-ins, VFX work, alternative deliverables, just future-proofing across the board. The Alexa Mini LF tops out at 4.5K open gate, and the old Mini at 3.4K open gate. The URSA Cine is giving you far more image and information to work with. That matters now more than ever because we are constantly delivering in multiple formats: horizontal, vertical, social cut downs, clean extractions, marketing assets, reposition frames, stills that look like photos, VFX patches. All of that gets easier when you have an enormous canvas to work with. That's not hype, that's workflow reality. The second reason is workflow. This is where I think the URSA Cine becomes genuinely hard to beat. Blackmagic built this thing with modern post-production in mind. You got a built-in 10 gig Ethernet, you have cloud syncing, high speed media options, and direct integration into DaVinci Resolve workflows. Blackmagic also includes DaVinci Resolve Studio with the camera. Compare that to buying into older used ARRI ecosystems where you're often also inheriting older media expectations, older accessories, older speeds, older support realities, and in the case of the Alexa Mini, really old CFast 2.0 workflows. The Mini LF is more modern than the Mini, obviously, but you're still in codec compact drive territory. That ecosystem, it's not cheap and it's not widely adapted. The third reason is value, and this is where it gets brutal. Blackmagic's official pricing currently lists the URSA Cine 12K LF body at $7,500, the full URSA Cine 12K kit at about $12,000. Meanwhile, secondhand Alexa Mini pricing is all over the place, with used listings coming from anywhere from maybe $10,000 up to about $20,000, depending on hours and package. And a used Alexa Mini LF production, they're showing up. Cheapest I've ever seen, $35,000, usually $45,000 and over. So if you're buying with your own cash, I've got to ask you, why are you spending on a used ARRI for less resolution, older media, less detail, fewer modern conveniences? What are you really getting besides the ARRI name? I mean, if you want the ecosystem or rental acceptance, is that it? And to be fair, those are real reasons. Brand trust is real, rental demand is real, ARRI's image reputation is real. None of that is fake, but this is where things get even more interesting. Because for a very long time, the assumption has always been ARRI still wins on dynamic range. But, hate to say, the gap might not be what people think it is anymore. Independent testing from sites like Cine D has shown that the URSA Cine is now sitting right in line with Alexa territory when it comes to dynamic range. That 14 stops of real-world testing use. And here's the key part. When you shoot in 12K and downscale to 4K, it actually passes and edges out the Alexa Mini LF in dynamic range. There is a caveat though, and it's an important one. To see that extra dynamic range, you have to shoot in 12K and finish in a 4K timeline. Oversampling is what allows the URSA Cine to extract that extra performance. If you're not working that way, you're not fully accessing what this new sensor can do, and it won't give you more dynamic range than the Mini LF. Another area that really surprises me about the Mini LF, the URSA Cine LF, is 12 millisecond rolling shutter in 12K. And when you drop down to 8K, it comes down to about 5.5 millisecond, which again is better than the Alexa Mini LF. That is top industry performance. So you're not just getting resolution, but you're also getting sensor readout speed and responsiveness when you need it. Now, to be fair, Alexa still has one edge, one key area, and that's how the image behaves under stress. When you really start pushing exposure, Alexa does still hold on to color, skin tone, and overall stability a little bit better by one stop. It's more forgiving when things go wrong, but here's the flip side. If you're exposing well and working in an environment where you know how to use these cameras, the URSA Cine is still going to give you the better image. It's cleaner, it's more detailed, it's more flexible, has more dynamic range, unless you stress the sensor and then you lose about a stop. But what makes it more compelling is when you actually see the image. I'll link a video here below of someone who did a side-by-side comparison of, I think, 4 different cameras, or it was the Cine LF and the Alexa Mini. When you see these steps in action, especially in the shadows and the highlight, that's the part that really changed my perspective. Because once you see it, it's very hard to ignore. In my opinion, the URSA Cine LF actually has the better image. So my take is this. If you're renting for high-end commercial or studio work and you have the budget, sure, get an ARRI. Makes sense, you know it, the crew might know it. But if you're buying because you want the logo and prestige, that's kind of fine if that's part of the decision. But if you're buying because you want the most camera, a modern camera, the most flexibility, in my opinion, the better footage, a better workflow, or for much cheaper, I genuinely think the URSA Cine 12K LF is probably the strongest cinema camera to buy on the market right now. And yes, I mean that when people are shopping for a Mini LF. So when you see me say that in the comments, you should have got a URSA Cine LF. I'm not trolling, I actually mean it. All right, guys, this was a long one and a lot for me to say, and I'll catch you on the next one.